Yeah, greetings, salutations, respect, and love. Today is a big, big day in the Prague Corner. As you can see, I've got an all-star panel with me as we talk about the one, the only, the mighty Dream Theater. You could argue the most important Prague or, Prague metal band of the last 30 or 40 years. You probably wouldn't be wrong. If record sales alone were an indicator of a band's greatness, well, they certainly jumped the line in front of, all the bands that I talk about most of the time on the Prague Corner. So I'm really thrilled to talk about Dream Theater in honor of Mike Portnoy's return to the fold. And we're going to be talking about their top 10 albums. Joining me today, as always, from Alberta, from Prisms of Prague and a pocket full of heap, it's Wayne. How you doing, Wayne?
Not bad. Had a lot of the last 2-3 weeks listening to Dream Theater, getting ready for this episode, and should be interesting.
Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be awesome, man. And coming back after a couple of week hiatus, we had her dad on, and there seems to be a big Dermot fan club building here at the Prague.
Yeah, there is.
And looking at Spin and Prague's numbers, I don't think it's just him. I think it's the two of y'all. We've got Tara. What's going on, Tara?
Hey everyone, I'm so happy to be back on the Prague stream. So thanks a million for inviting me, and I'm really looking forward to jumping into this.
Well, I thought I might have, upset you guys for some reason. And I thought, oh boy, I offended somebody. They don't want to ever come back. So I'm just thrilled to have you here. And somebody told me you're kind of a sort of a Dream Theater fan. So this might be perfect.
Yes, absolutely.
and underneath you here, as I'm looking at the panel, the co-host of the Sunday Prague stream, along with Wayne, he's my other co-host, but it's Cody from Brockway's Vinyl Bites and all the other things going on. And just a little precursor, after we do these introductory things, I'm going to kind of, let Cody run the ship here for a little while today. He does his own streams and he's doing great. Now, Alex, obviously, he's like the pro, the master. But, I want to get a little bit of youthful energy here going. And Cody, you are the man. How's it going, sir?
Wow, I don't even know how I'm going to follow that up. How am I going to live up to that? Thanks, Scott. That was really nice of you to say. Yeah, I'm doing good. I've been so excited for this. You have no idea. I had my own live stream on my channel yesterday with Wayne, and all I could think about in the week leading up to that was the Prague Corner one. Nice. But the one on Brockway's Vinyl Bites was obviously amazing. We had so much fun, and Martin Popoff joined us again, and it was just a real blast. It's always great talking to him and Lauren.
That was an awesome show.
Thank you. Yeah, he's kind of a neighbor of mine. He lives about an hour away.
That's cool. That's cool.
I got a question for everyone in the panel before we continue. Who here has seen Dream Theater in concert before?
I have not been lucky enough, no, but Dad saw them, of course.
Only 2 of the 5.
I haven't.
Okay.
2 of 5. Okay.
I got 10 times.
No, there you go.
Okay. I only got 1, but okay, that's all right. That's all right. 10 times is pretty damn cool.
Good question. It kind of puts stuff into perspective. To me, it's like if I go out of my way to see a band, that automatically means that they're kind of sort of important because I don't get out of my cave too often. But somebody that does get out of his cave up there in Sweden every now and then, spring comes around and maybe he gets a little bit of sunshine. It's the Swedish Prague nerd Pontus gracing us with his presence today. Pontus,
good evening. Good evening. I haven't seen Dream Theater live, sadly. I had a few chances, but I didn't take them, sadly. But it's a great band. I've seen a few live concerts. I mean, it's just a great band. So I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you here.
Yeah, it's great. I'm at one point in the North Sea, and Tara is the other one. So we got that covered.
There you go. Not only are we international, we've got the Canadian connection, the Swedish connection, the Irish connection, but, we need Ohio represented so bad in the worst kind of way that, not only am I here in Ohio, but Alex from Beer and Vinyl, he's like 50 miles away from me. What are the odds of that, boys and girls? It's Alex. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Good to see all of you. Thanks so much again. My background, this is not a virtual background. I'm actually at my office for a work event, but I told them, I said, I need to get away for 90 minutes. My life depends on it. I need to talk about this band, and I need to be on the Prog Corner. So
that's
regardless of what, who knows what's going to happen with my job,
Prog.
but you know what? I'm focused on Dream Theater today, and that's what counts.
Love it, man. Love it.
Come and go, but Dream Theater, that's the band right here. And, I figured today we're going to do something a little bit different. Like I said, Dream Theater is a slightly different band, not really in my comfort zone. I don't talk a lot about prog metal on the Prog Corner. Everybody knows that, but I got a couple of soft spots, man. I absolutely do. Haken is absolutely one of them, but the godfathers of all that is Dream Theater. I fell in love with them the first time probably like a whole lot of other people's stories. It's 1992 and I hear this song on the radio. Didn't sound like anything else on the radio. You know the story. It's been told a million times by a million different dudes just like me. But, I was a little bit older at the time. I was 30 when Pull Me Under hit. So, they were never my band, right? I mean, you hear your band when you're like 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm real excited for this episode. To wit, I'm going to kind of turn it over to the one, the only Cody, the man with the golden voice, the man who's got not one, but 2 radio shows, fantastic shows. Cody, what's going on? Take over a little bit, man.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate that intro once again. I really dig that, and I dig what you do here, Scott. So thanks for the inclusion and the opportunities and all that fun stuff. And I speak on behalf of everyone on the panel when I say that. So if I was to do this like I would do it on my own channel, I'm kind of in a different spot. But Scott, do you want to go last? Because it is your channel, or do you want me to go last?
It's my channel. It's your show.
Okay. Like Genesis, right?
I'm ready whenever.
All right. Well, okay. I'm going to do it probably the way that I would do it if I was on Brockway's Vinyl Bites. So I'm going to start with Tara. We're going to go Wayne. We're going to go Scott. We're going to go Alex. We're going to go Pontus. And then I'll go last. And that's it. So Tara, if you have any honorable mentions, you want to do those first?
All right. Well, I just want to start off by saying I am a huge fan of the Portnoy era.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my humble opinion. Do not kill me. But I feel when Portnoy left and Mangini came in, the writing and the concepts in the music went downhill. You look at all the stuff Portnoy did with them. He basically wrote everything. He came up with the concepts. It was basically him and John Petrucci together coming up with everything. And I feel when he left, there was a downturn. Don't get me wrong. They're incredibly talented musicians. All of them, they're brilliant. The music is still like very high standard. But if you watch my channel, you know I love stories. I love all that stuff. Scott, your shirt is absolutely gorgeous.
I love it.
And I'm going to get into my list anyway. So number 10 is This Dying Soul.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
I think it's a wonderful
fantastic
song, and the fact that they have a kind of running theme in all the albums of kind of mental illness and, the different things that come with that. A lot of the music resonates with me very, very deeply. Number 9,
sweet, you mean?
with that theme is Misunderstood from 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. That whole album is absolutely amazing, and it was very difficult to kind of pull. Yeah, I wish I had it on vinyl, you know that. It was very hard to pull different songs out of it because with all their stuff, you kind of have to sit down and listen to the album from start to finish to really get the experience.
That's a good pick, because I think a lot of people with that record will automatically go to the suite on disc 2, almost forgetting about disc 1 sometimes. Do so at your peril. Misunderstood. Good track.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it was so nice to be able to sit down and listen to them again coming up to this.
Yeah.
And you'd forget how just how poignant their music is. And the astonishing fans.
I am. I love it.
I like the gift of music. That sounds like a Rush song to me.
Yeah. Number 8 is The Shattered Fortress.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. And that beat at the end, where he's saying that I'm responsible for anyone everywhere that reaches out for help. I want my hand to be there. That's beautiful. Like,
Yeah.
It is.
Number 7 is The Glass Prison, which is another very
Oh yeah.
I'm sensing a theme here, Tara.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I think you really like the 6 Degrees record.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Now, number 6 is Home from Metropolis, Scenes from a Memory. This is the only song I could pull out of that. I couldn't do it. Like I said, you have to sit down and listen to the whole thing. Like, it was very difficult for me.
No
to
Spirit
just pull
Carries
out.
On? Okay.
Yeah, that's a wonderful song, but I find it hard, like, to just pull that one out of it because you don't want to turn it off after that song. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I get you.
Number 5 is The Root of All Evil. You know, if you've been in a bad relationship or whatever, that really, really hits home. Number 4 is A Nightmare to Remember, which I recently performed to, and I was carried onto the stage in a coffin.
Tara, do you sing or do you play a guitar or what's
I'm a dancer.
Oh,
so I do aerial performances.
Oh, nice. That's kind of like your Slayer song. I don't know if we have any Slayer fans on the panel here, but that's kind of like their homage to Slayer, especially like later on. There's this cool double kick thing that Portnoy does. Dave Lombardo all the way.
Dave Lombardo, stop it. No, amazing.
Now, number 3, I've already seen someone in the comments saying, I hope this album isn't mentioned, but I'm going to mention it. In the Presence of Enemies, part 1 and 2. I had to put in. Absolutely fantastic. Love it.
Yeah.
Number 2 is The Count of Tuscany, of course. I think that was the first Dream Theater song I ever heard when I was younger, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I loved the story in it of the chapel and the saint and the soldier and the wine, like he says at the end. It's just unreal. And of course, number 1, Octavarium.
Oh, nice.
Man.
And I know all the prog heads love that because of the way he references the all the prog music in it and everything. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Musicianship on it is just on another level.
The lyrics that reference the cinema show and
Brilliant.
Very cool.
And Tara, when I said I was noticing a trend, it was that you had 4 of the 5 AA Sweet songs that Mike wrote. So the only one that didn't make it was Repentance, but that's unlike all of the other ones. And so, hit it out of the park. And the big thing with Mike back now, a lot of people are saying, can we get Dream Theater to do the live AA Suite all together, which would be amazing, but would also take up like 75% of the set list. So
and he's already done it. He did it with Eric Gillette and the guys from Haken and on Cruise to the Edge, and I guess it was pretty awesome. So yeah.
Well, Tara, that was an excellent list. Awesome. Let's give a round of applause for Tara. That's great. Many of the songs you'll find on my list, and I'm sure you'll find them on Wayne's. Wayne, what do you got for us today, my friend?
Oh, man. Well, I'll start with my top 10 list, and then I'll give you my honorable mentions at the end. As Cody has probably become very familiar with, is these lists. I've just started writing them down and then just figuring it out as I come here and
That's
kind of what I feel on the day. Dream Theater, for me, I came into them just pretty much through the reactions and stuff. And I've heard of John Petrucci. He was always mentioned in Guitar World all the time and always had spots on there. So that's how I kind of found out about Dream Theater, but never really gave him a listen until about 3 years ago. So here's going to be my top 10 list. So if you don't like it, don't kill me. This is a band I'm not really familiar with, but number 10 for me, I'm going to go with Pull Me Under.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
First Dream Theater song I ever heard. And
Yeah.
it's like, wow, it is different. It's unique. Number 9 for me, I'm going to go with, what is it? The Looking Glass.
Oh, from Self-Titled.
Nice. Charlie Dominici. There you go. Oh wait, no, sorry, that's 2013. When you said self-titled, I was thinking first. Sorry, I messed that up. My bad.
Song number 8 for me, The Shattered Fortress.
Yeah, there we go. There it is.
Number 7 for me, The Mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but that you got to have lie connected to that though. Great one.
Number 6, Peruvian Skies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Number 5, Under a Glass Moon.
Oh,
Good.
great one. Great pick.
Number 4, As I Am.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the songs that turned me into a fan. That song was like, wow.
Which, the fun fact, not to interrupt, but that song was written in response. That was a John song in response to touring with Queensryche at the time.
Yeah.
And it was Queensryche's guitarist, who's still their guitarist. It wasn't Michael Wilton or Chris DeGarmo, but one of their guitarists who had made a comment to him of like, man, why do you got to play everything just so fast? Like, he was kind of commenting on like, you're too technical. You don't have enough soul or, inspiration in your playing. And so the whole foundation of the song As I Am was in response to that comment that the guitarist from Queensryche made to him during, I think it was like the GAN tour in 2003 or something like that.
Yeah, there's
it's a comment that's come up a lot with Dream Theater, because I know Alexei from Children of Bodom pretty much said the same thing about John Petrucci, and I think Mustaine said it kept them off a Gigantor tour with Megadeth.
Well,
because the two bands.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
That's a ridiculous thing to me, because I've heard him play stuff like that solo in the middle of Count of Tuscany and The Spirit Carries On. That's just those comments come from someone who listens on a very surface level and doesn't bother to go deeper into it and just goes, oh, he's playing really fast. That's all I can hear. But there is emotion to everything that these guys do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of when you get into, especially guitar players, let's be honest, when you get into that, I can play, 17 notes per second kind of stratosphere, that rarefied air, you're going to be held accountable for it, and some people just don't like that style. They're going to say that you're too technical. You don't have enough emotion. I say that is absolutely not true of Messieurs Portnoy and Petrucci. Yeah, they're absolutely at the top of what they do, but I still think they play with a ton of finesse and feel. But that's, that's just
we had, back in the 70s, we had that discussion with Limiola.
Yeah.
He was playing too fast. When you listen to what he's doing, he's very, very delicate.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So that's how people are reacting to that kind of music, but not listening too deep, as Cody said.
Yeah, exactly. So Wayne, what do you got for your next pick?
Number 3 for me, The Alien.
Yeah, nice one.
Get the hardware out. Win that Grammy, man. That's the song that did it finally.
Yeah.
Last 2 picks I have are from the same album. Finally Free, the closing track to Metropolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the best drumming ever in that track, my friend.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And
incredible.
Number 1 for me, talking about John Petrucci and emotion, I absolutely love the song Through Her Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's got that David Gilmour kind of thing going on at the beginning before that the key change, and then the vocals come in. Yeah, that song, that's absolutely beautiful. That's just, I don't even think Portnoy plays on that song at all. I think it's just a drum track on that, right? It's just a drum sequence.
I think so.
Yeah. That's a great
Yeah,
list. Let's hear it for Wayne.
My honorable mentions: Hollow Years, The Spirit Carries On, The
Yeah.
Glass Prison, In the Name of God, Forsaken, Count of Tuscany.
I want to grab something really cool that I think you guys will appreciate. Just give me 2 seconds to run and grab it. I think you guys will like this.
Okay. You know, I actually been. What's he got?
I told you it would take 2 seconds, not even. So when I saw Dream Theater last year in my birth town of Hamilton, Ontario, I was in the mosh pit. No, not in the mosh pit. I was on the floor. And John Petrucci, this is the first time I ever caught something at a concert. He threw a pick out. It ricocheted off me. It hit the ground. I stomped my foot down on it. People were literally digging at my feet to get this thing. Look at these things. These are size 15s. Ain't no way someone's going to be kicking and getting my foot to move. They're huge. Anyway, I got this pick. And I have it in this little container, but it says John Petrucci Dream Sonic. I know you can't really see it because the focus is out, but it's his actual pick that he actually tossed out.
There you go.
I wanted to share that. I'm sorry.
I love it. Yeah, Petrucci. I mean, all those guys, you know, you're talking about dudes that went to Berkeley, all right?
Yeah.
I was playing classical guitar since I was 5. My dad gave me a choice. You're playing guitar, you're playing piano. And by the time I was 18, let me tell you something. I wasn't good enough to get into Berkeley. And I'd been playing every single day for 13 years, 8 hours a day. Not even close, my friends. So the fact that, you know, you're talking about that alone means you're talking about some cats with some serious chops. But, you know, it's more than that because there's a lot of dudes who can play a lot of notes. And most of those guys I don't really like listening to, but Dream Theater special. And I've been keeping track of everybody's votes across all social media platforms. So I do have my top 10, Cody. But I also got the people's top 10. So yeah.
It needs to be said. It needs to be said that, like, I saw someone comment saying it sounds like this sounds like a band of guys from graduated from Berklee School of Music. Yeah. These guys actually left school after, like a lot of people don't remember this, but those guys never this is not to take away from their credit. If anything, it's actually to say how amazing they are. They formed in Berklee School of Music, but they didn't finish. They didn't finish their time there. They left school because it was ridiculously hard there.
Yeah.
And it's like these guys are that good of musicians, and they didn't even, go for the full thing. Right. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's not a discredit to them because they're absolutely.
They didn't need it anyway, did they?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, you get it. They didn't need it. They already had. They did their first album, and the rest is history, right? But Scott, what do you got for your list?
Just before Scott, one thing I will say about Dream Theater is through listening to them, how much more appreciation I have of Jordan Rudess and John Myung.
Oh yeah. I mean, it sounds like a symphony is on half their albums, and it's just one guy.
Yeah.
And you know, let's give it up for Derek Sherinian too. I mean, he was only on the one album and the Change of Seasons, but Kevin Moore. I mean, this is a band that's just been blessed with amazing musicianship from the get-go.
I love Derek Sherinian,
and I am going to I've been taking all people's votes up until we went on here, and I've got the people's top 10 right here. I'm going to rattle them off real quick. At number 10, we've got Scarred.
Oh, nice.
And I think that's an excellent choice. At number 9, had the 9th most votes, Learning to Live. Okay. At number 8, The Great Debate. Little surprised. I love that track, but I was a little surprised. And then the rest you can probably all guess how this played out at number 7, In the Name of God. Absolutely agree with that. At number 6, The Glass Prison. At number 5, Pull Me Under. At number 4, The Count of Tuscany. At number 3, Dance of Eternity. At number 2, A Change of Seasons. Guess what was at number 1 according to the peeps? Yeah, Octavarium. And honestly, it wasn't even close. Maybe because all my channels are called the Prog Corner, so maybe the proggiest thing they ever did. Octavarium certainly would be one of the most proggiest things they ever did. But I'm doing the one per album rule, Cody.
All right, go. Yeah, sure, go for it.
I'm putting the one per album rule in, and
I can't do that.
Being that I'm not crazy about the first album, that means I must, by default almost, have a Mangini track in my top 10. What's it going to be? It could have been The Alien. It won a Grammy for him, or the title track from that same album. Just an amazing epic. But I'm going with Illumination Theory from the self-titled. It keeps my attention. And you know what? Most 22-minute prog metal songs do not. That one most certainly does. So there's my obligatory Mangini title at number 9. I think Wayne had it on his list. I'm going with Peruvian Skies. I just think it's so cool, so heavy, yet smooth. Just a great track. At number 8, a track that's kind of become one of their staples and something that you can point to as, one for the ages. It's the Count of Tuscany. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I love that track. Black Clouds, right? I mean, what a way for Portnoy to go out, I'm hoping he comes back in with the same intensity that he went out, because that's one of my favorite Dream Theater albums.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
At number 7, another one of my favorites, Train of Thought, I thought was absolutely incredible. I'm going with, of course, In the Name of God. Why wouldn't I? It's just incredible. So good. Number 6, The Glass Prison, just because it's The Glass Prison, and it has to be in the top 10. One that hasn't been mentioned yet at number 5 from Awake, it's Space Divest, man.
Oh.
I love that thing. It's such a cool song. Little different than the rest of that album, perhaps, but I think it's a great track. And I've always loved it. At number 4, The Dance of Eternity. You talk about a statement piece. Yeah, you're plucking it out of the great Scenes from a Memory suite. So it maybe isn't as great a standalone track as perhaps it could have been, but I'm on record that Metropolis Part 2 is my favorite Dream Theater album. For sure it is. Why wouldn't it be? At number 3, if it weren't for this song, none of us would be talking about this band today. Yeah, of course, it's Pull Me Under. It's not one of my top 10 favorite songs by Dream Theater, but it's Pull Me Under. You can't talk about Dream Theater without talking about that song.
Yeah.
At number 2, A Change of Seasons. I just absolutely adore it. Yeah. Perhaps it's, you hear some of the influences a bit, but that's absolutely why it is what it is. That's why it's on a standalone record, not part of a whole. Portnoy, very smart about stuff like that. And big shocker at number 1, man. Yeah, it's Octavarium. And, I was a music theory major, right? So you're talking about some really, really, really cool things going on here. You're starting with your first song in F, your next song's in G, next song's in A, and they have, if there's a half step in the chromatic, you're going to have a little incendiary piece in the middle, and then you end with the great Octavarium piece, which is, of course, in F, right? But it's not just how it wraps around the diatonic scale, which is so cool for a music theory major, but also they'd been like beginning each album with the last part of the previous album.
Yeah.
That was starting to get a little old. So how do you do it? You do an Ouroboros, man. Now the snake's eating itself. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Octavarium from start to finish is a record by, these guys went to Berkeley. Yeah, they're really smart. And none of that would matter if these songs on here suck. They do not. I love it. It's an amazing piece of work. My favorite thing Dream Theater's ever done, and a big reason why I think Dream Theater is one of the greatest bands of all time. Octavarium. There you go. That's what I got for you, Cody.
That was a great list, man. And everyone seems to really love Octavarium. That's like the title track. It is amazing. And the references and the lyrics to like the Genesis and Yes songs, that that is so tasteful, you know.
And all off the Portnoy's vision board, I guess, while, leading up to the release of the album, they always, put like what albums might have inspired. And yeah, come on, man. It was all The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway this and OK Computer that. And okay, I'm sold before I've heard a note. And just awesome.
Yeah, and I noticed you had Dance of Eternity there. I just wanted to say one of the most fun things I ever got to do was learn that song for a drum cover on my YouTube page, and that was quite a hoot.
Have you seen the charts? Are amazing, right?
Yeah, I saw that video of him counting it out.
What are there? I forget. It's been a while, but I believe there's like 182 time changes in one song. It's just insanity, brother. Insane. I don't know how anybody can play that stuff. I don't.
It's well, I learned it, and it's a lot of fun. That's what I could tell you. But it's it was definitely, I knew going in, like, oh, this song is on another level, right? Like it's a very, like, to get even the last minute and a half is really tough in that song. That last, like, after they sort of repeat the intro part and come back and do the last bit of the song, the mathematics in some of those time signatures, it's just absolutely crazy. But I could go on all day about that, but I'll spare you the time. Alex, what do you got for your top 15?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It might be 11 or 12 or something. I've said it before. I said it to you all. Dream Theater is my favorite band of all time. I'll kind of get to, obviously what my favorite is and why it's my favorite and all that. But, I've seen them about 10 times or so, pretty much half and half with, I saw about 5 or 6 with Portnoy and then another 4 or 5 times with Mangini.
Awesome.
And I love this band. I have, if some of you follow me and the shorts, right, the vinyl collection stuff, I have everything except Train of Thought. So if there's any really, rich and well-off and gracious people out there that want to find me like a $200 Train of Thought and just send it my way, I'll get you in touch with my agent that doesn't exist. I'm my agent, and we can work it out. But that's about a $200 record. So, but
they'll reprint it. They'll redo it, because now that Portnoy's back, they're going to have that momentum to do that stuff. So they're going to put them all back out there. I know it.
They will, and I'm very lucky to have what I have, because a lot of them were so limited and all that kind of stuff. So there's that. I think I'll start off with maybe a couple of honorable mentions. I do have, because I remember the day that Portnoy announced that he was leaving, and like I felt like it was like the biggest gut check of my life. I got into the band because of Mike Portnoy. I mean, he was like, that was my rock star, right? He was the guy I loved the most, my favorite drummer of all time. And I remember him leaving and just feeling like my world was ending, because I was dramatic, right? But
that's a dramatic turn of events, right?
You could say that. And then, obviously when they announced that he was coming back, I think a lot of us longtime fans thought we had to check the date. We're like, is it April 1st? Like, this can't be real. But you know what? The story ends where it began. These things all sort of make sense. And so I just couldn't be more excited that this is actually happening. But a couple of things that I'll show and tell right before I dive into the actual list. Somebody mentioned a question earlier asking about DVDs. The first actual music DVD I ever bought was Score. This was their, obviously, 20th anniversary show that they did. This is, I think, a trip. This is a quad live album. That DVD is just so great. The orchestra, obviously, on the end, just everything's perfect about that. So there's that. I guess this would be more of an honorable mention before I go into the actual top 10, because I am going to give the Mangini-era some love. I mean, what I've tried to do is that, the emotions when it comes to these things, it's not no or but, it's yes and. And what I mean by that is that you can be so excited for Mike to be back and also feel bad for Mike Mangini too. Like, both those feelings can exist in their own way. And I do think, I totally agree with what Tara was pointing out earlier. It wasn't the musicality that changed as much. It was more the underlying, the songwriting, the arrangements, the direction. It was all the intangibles. And so, but in terms of an honorable, this has become, well, I don't know if it will now, probably not, but obviously the first record they did with Mangini. But I've always thought the best track on here, well, two of the best tracks, I guess. Breaking All Illusions has sort of become a big staple, or it was a big staple. But I've always loved Outcry too. Both those tracks for me off that record are so great.
Awesome album.
I'll jump into this too. Yeah, it's maybe maybe an obvious choice. It's funny, Scott. I know, Scott, you did one per album, but you didn't just do no epics because it's really hard with this band.
Yeah,
so,
that rule didn't apply with Dream Theater.
Yeah, be like, because it's weird when you listen to Dream Theater and you're like, that's not that long of a song. It's only 14:32.
Exactly, that's a short one.
It's a pop track. But Illumination Theory, and it was after listening to this so many times too that I remember seeing this live, and the whole middle section. Yeah, it wasn't. The whole the orchestral part in the middle section was played over a tape. They're obviously not going to bring an orchestra in, but the way they sort of arranged the light and the video cues was very, very emotional and just like left you with chills in the best of ways. So I wanted to throw that out. So
and you're okay when bands do that as long as they're not trying to fake you out. As long as you know ahead of, hey, this is something on tape. It's all for effect, it. But when you're trying to fool me into thinking you're performing what I'm hearing, that's when I got a problem.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Because that was the other thing too. Obviously, you'll throw Count in Tuscany up there as well. What I've thrown it back to the prog stuff. I guess I kind of made this connection a couple years ago after listening to this. That whole middle section with Petrucci on his volume pedal for the guitarists out there. Very, very, very reminiscent of oh gosh, what am I playing on? Yes, Relayer.
Soon.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the same thing.
Yep. If you go back and play them like side to side, it's very clearly like very influenced by. It's not like it's a note for note thing. Gates of Delirium. Yeah. Very interesting, but I thought that was a really cool callback too, right? Good stuff. We'll go back to Systematic Chaos. This one has not been mentioned.
No, it has not.
Yet. I am going to go with the Ministry of Lost Souls. I am a sucker for melody. In fact, it was the melody with this band that got me. This is probably the heaviest band I like. And so much of that is based on the melody. I think that's what has put them in a different sort of category in the prog metal world. For so long is that they were really good and still are great songwriters. They got great hooks. They had a great sense of melody. And I think all that has really helped them sort of cross over in some different ways too. Ministry of Lost Souls.
Yeah, I love that album.
I think Tara mentioned a song from that album. I think, Tara, you did
the Presence of Enemy,
right? Yeah.
Part 1 and 2 I had to put in.
Oh yeah, you got
more on that later. More on that later, trust me.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's such a perfect. I remember seeing them play that in its entirety live and just blew me away. I'm going to go back to this one. My favorite Mangini-era song, and this is my favorite Mangini-era album.
That's a great album.
This is one of the only songs that I would put in. Obviously, it's on my top 10, but to me, it's a perfect song, and I love what they did with it, and that's At Wit's End. Always love that song. It's heavy. It's emotional. It's, the lyrical content is, you can kind of dive into it, but, that's a little bit heavy too. But the way they kind of go again from that heaviness and then that outro, the outro sort of guitar solo that John plays into the outro sort of piano bit that Jordan's doing over. I absolutely love At Wit's End. That's my favorite Mangini.
I think it's my favorite Mangini era album. Somebody just mentioned Untethered Angel. What was that other song? Barstool Wits. There were some really cool, different, different and not like in the astonishing way of being different, but different still in being Dream Theater. Yeah. I think that's their most underrated album.
That's a great album.
Fall Into the Light was great. I know S2N was great. Yeah, that's my favorite. Yeah, of I guess the last 12 years or whatever it's been, right? Or 14 years. Yeah. Moving on up again. I don't know. Maybe I'm at like 7 or 6. I'm not sure. I just got them lined up here. I'm a vinyl guy and a beer guy. Obviously, people know that. I'm going to go to 6 Degrees. Now, although 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence is the title track, I really always have listened to that as the 6 or 7 different tracks because there are kind of themes, but to me, they really do sound like 6 or 7 connected songs instead of just one big composition. This hasn't been named. I did see it in one of the comments, though. My favorite track on this record, I love them all. My favorite is Blind Faith.
Blind Faith.
I love the instrumental section, sort of in the beginning, where
Yeah.
Jordan brings out some of those sort of those strings with the voices a little bit in the back, all those different patches that he was doing.
I like the band Blind Faith too.
What's that?
Yeah, we like that too. But
Oh,
I said I
for
like
sure.
the band.
Absolutely, yeah. So Blind Faith's always been my favorite off of.
and some really, really strong lyrics from James LaBrie on that track.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and
is
that was
not
I think,
something you get to say every day.
that's right. And that was, I mean, something that was great with 6 Degrees, right? Is they obviously had the one side of going through the 6 degrees of inner turbulence, which were, all these different areas of mental health challenges or, that sort of thing that sat alone. But then they also were very intentional of like, okay, on this other side, we're not going to focus specifically on that, but we're going to focus on these major issues that are facing us individually or the world, right? So whether you're talking about the Great Debate or, the Glass Prison was obviously Mike's kickoff talking about his experience with AA, all the different areas, Blind Faith talking about, the idea of what I painted my own Mona Lisa and she means everything, sort of, yeah, I mean, deeper stuff. And again, they were writing about that type of stuff, which was awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
We're going to Awake a lot. I love Awake.
Music on vinyl. Love
images and words, but everybody, but Awake, I mean, it was darker, it was heavier, it didn't do what the label wanted, which means for the fans, we love it more. So many different areas to go with this, but I'm going to go with one of my favorite, not my favorite, I'll talk about that next. My second favorite John Petrucci guitar solo, and that is in the song Voices. Again, kind of a very creepy, out there song. I mean, just menacing tones, especially coming from Kevin Moore at the time. The patches that he was doing on this song. But man, I heard that guitar solo on Voices, and John's just ripping that wah-wah pedal like no one's business. I mean, absolutely outstanding. I've always loved this, but love this whole album as well.
Yeah, I gotta go with Burger Show on that one. Erotomania, what a great track, and of course, yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I sent Wayne a live version of that Erotomania, and it is just amazing. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
No, I was going to say, so I'm doing the one per album thing, but I do have a cheater later, which may or may not include that, Scott. So we will see. Pretty Panned upon release, I think still looked back on not as fondly, but I think there's no one that doubts that there's a number of incredible songs on there. It's just maybe not as consistent. But going to the record that almost broke them up, almost ended their career. Peruvian Skies was definitely going to be up there. I love that song, especially back in the day when they would do it live and they would tie in. Wow, I'm blanking on names today. Metallica, biggest song ever.
Master of Puppets, Enter Sandman.
Enter Sandman. They would tie in some Enter Sandman bits. So,
you're talking to a Metallica fan.
I can't think when I'm at work. You can tell, right? But my pick is going to be my favorite John Petrucci moment of all time, and that is going to be the guitar solo and Lines in the Sand. I love Lines in the Sand. That to me was the perfect example of like, oh, John, he just plays way too fast. He has no melody. That to me, Lines in the Sand guitar solo is the perfect guitar solo in all of the ways. Absolutely love it. Rick Labonte, I love you, brother. I'm a big fan of you.
Me too, man. What's up, Rick?
Thanks for being here. But Lines in the Sand, that solo, plus the great, Dream Theater didn't have a ton of guest stars unless they were doing some more narration type stuff. But the great Doug Pinnick from King's X supporting on the vocals on Lines in the Sand as well. So
yeah, let me ask you something, Alex. What do you think about the Kevin Shirley production job on that record?
I think it was of the time. I think it was, it definitely does not sound as great as what would come next. But that way. Now, one of my big issues, it didn't make my list. I love Change of Seasons, but I think Change of Seasons sounds awful. I think specifically Mike Portnoy is playing. He sounds like he's playing like a popcorn snare or something. Like just everything. Not a fan of that, but I think it was of the time for sure. And yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, I guess I got 4 left. Yep. So let's see. A lot of different ways you can go with this, right? I'm going to go with Learning to Live. Yeah. I mean, that moment, the classic, the classic James LaBrie hitting the F sharp, You know, that's like the big
Yeah.
the big thing at the end, right? With the big build up, all the different stuff. Plus, that was a John Mayung written song too. So, you know, someone who kind of stopped writing later, came back a little bit, but maybe would only write lyrics for a song and album. But Learning to Live, I've always absolutely loved. A perfect way to close the album, and just epic in so many ways.
Yeah, let's hear it for the bass player, man. The bass player got to get some love. Love it.
Yeah,
John Mayung
but-
is awesome.
You know, but there's a couple of Dream Theater albums where you can give him all the love you want, but you're still not going to hear his bass. I mean,
I know. That's the one problem I have. I know.
It's not every album, but Tara, do you hear this? I mean, is this a problem with you and Dream Theater? Is like this like one of the greatest bass players in the world. He's going absolutely crazy, and I can barely hear him.
Yeah, he's definitely not turned up enough. And then sometimes you'll just go, oh, that little riff was brilliant.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time you're like, where is he gone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that was an even more dramatic downshift after Mike left as well, because I think John, and Mike led everything, and then after Mike left, it became John, right? He produces everything. He's kind of the spokesperson. He's the leader, so he's in charge of all those sounds too. So I could totally see John's guitar tone, obviously as it is amazing, but so big that it blocks off Mayung even more and more and more. Yeah. And you can't hear him on the records, and you can't hear him live either. So.
Yeah. I just want to give another shout out to Rick Labonte. He's my fellow Ontario, Canada. I can't even speak. Canadian brother. He lives in Windsor. I live in Caledonia. It is about 3.5 hours away, but hey, it's all the same. What's up, Rick? Glad you're here, man.
Woo! Rick's basically in South Detroit.
Yes. He's yes.
He's actually Steve Perry wrote the song about him. Yeah. 3.
Yeah, he did.
So many different picks. This is my favorite album of all time. I mean, this is what changed the game for me with this band and with music in general. So many different ones. Tara, I think you picked Home, maybe.
Yeah.
Does that sound right? You picked Home. Amazing, perfect. It might be the schmaltzy pick. It might be the pick that's the obvious pick. But for me, The Spirit Carries On is still just a perfect song. And I think, again, displays for the haters out there, all the things that people don't like about the band. It's like Spirit Carries On is a perfect element of songwriting. Especially love the live version they did on the Score DVD, where John plays that extended sort of guitar intro bit. Just the sense of melody, all of it. I still love Spirit Carries On. I've heard it a million times. So still the best. So here's where I cheat a little bit with my number 2.
Here we go.
Because it's not a studio track. It's a live track. And this is where I'm able to combine all of my favorite things into one track. So we're going to go back to Live at Budokan. This is outstanding. Another 4 LP, 3-hour DVD. This was Train of Thought tour, a lot of Train of Thought stuff. But what this also did was this gave us Instrumentally. And I know it's kind of a cheater pick.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
We're going to combine Dance of Eternity. We're going to combine Erotomania. We're going to combine Hell's Kitchen. We're going to combine 2 Liquid Tension experiment tracks. We're going to include Change of Seasons, all of that. So, yeah, I know I'm cheating, but that was my way of getting like 7 of those songs worked in here. But Instrumentally off of Live at Budokan is just absurd. And specifically, remember, Mike was just recently doing all this stuff with Drumeo, and he did a playback with Dance of Eternity. And he was talking about how playing to the record was weird because they never played with click tracks. They did later with Mangini, but they never played click tracks with him. And how when they would play Instrumentally, they would just go, the adrenaline was so high that they would just speed it up like crazy, and all that kind of stuff. And how when he was playing just to Dance of Eternity on the studio album, he was like, this feels like it's like slow. But yeah, just the energy, everything about that is perfect.
Awesome. Great pick.
And then, of course, number 1, to me, the greatest composition of all time. Yeah, I know. It's become the thing. I love it. But a special shout out, maybe because it sort of overshadows it, but right up there, almost made the list. I think Sacrifice Sons is right up there too. Is one of the Dream Theater's best. But yeah, Octavarium, people have talked a lot about it. I just think that ending piece, the John Petrucci solo with that big note at the end that just hangs there, just a perfect composition. The story ends where it began. Love this record, song, my favorite of all time. There it is.
Awesome.
Wow.
That was
Good one.
killer. Let's hear it for Alex.
Well done. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know,
It's awesome.
sometimes being right is boring, you know. That's all right. That's all right, you know. It is what it is. There's a reason why you know, we great minds think alike, I guess. It's an amazing record, but you know, we're hearing some of the people in the peanut gallery, and you're hearing some of the things that, you know, people may have a problem with as far as Dream Theater goes. You know, hearing people have a problem with James LeBrie's voice, or, you know, maybe Petrucci plays a little too fast. I don't know. Are any of these concerns valid at all?
No.
I'd say LeBrie's voice for some people, I can really see that part as a turnoff.
Yeah.
For some, there just kind of feels like the inconsistency of it. I'm not.
Alex, yes.
Oh, thank you for calling on me, Cody. I'll say this: I'm not an apologist, right? Like, he has always sort of been the odd man out in a sense, right? Of like, you have these virtuosos, and then we have the singer. What I will say though is, there is no Dream Theater that we know without that voice, and B, and people have talked about this. You could argue that in 1992 and 1993, when they were touring heavily for Images and Words and Awake, that the best performer on that stage was James LeBrie.
Yeah.
And then he obviously had his vocal cord accident with the food poisoning that happened, all that kind of stuff. And it's been a long and I think difficult return. But when you go back and check out some of those videos of them playing live in 93 and 94, he was up there ripping in the best of ways. And so, yeah, I always say that too, of like, you know, you can say that with so many different bands of, yeah, we're not as big of a fan of the singer and he's had his struggles over the years. And you know what the reality is, it's probably not going to get any better. But to me, it still is like, you know, you could put in, you know, anybody else that you want to, that might be a greater singer, but I think it changes the band so much that to me, I'm always going to go, there is no Dream Theater that we know of without that voice. So there's my James LeBrie apologist moment.
Absolutely, you're right. It's like if you were to replace James LeBrie in Dream Theater at this point, the chemistry. Oh, there's my comment. Hi.
Yeah, there you are.
The chemistry would change so much. It might still be good music and all that, but the chemistry would be so different. It's like Mike Portnoy leaving and Mike Mangini coming in. The music is absolutely great, but the chemistry is so different. That's like, people say, yes, it's technically amazing, but something doesn't feel the same. There's a chemistry that John and Mike had, Petrucci and Portnoy had, that was different without Portnoy. And so if James LeBrie would leave the band, I don't want to see that happen. I love the guy. I think he's a great singer. And it would just totally change the whole dynamic of everything. And, you know, they've been around for 35 years. You know, they sold millions of albums. They don't need to cater to that. to the internet.
It's not even the fact that you know, Portnoy and Mangini, obviously two totally different style drummers. It's not that Portnoy's style works particularly better than Mangini's style, although you can, you know, argue that on those live tracks where Mangini's playing the Portnoy stuff all day long until you're blue in the face. The reality is that Mike Portnoy is way more than just a drummer. You know, you lose Mike Portnoy, you lost the heart and the soul of the band. You think about back in the Majesty days and those early days, who was the one leading the charge making this thing happen? It was Mike Portnoy and his family making all this stuff happen. I mean, every set list, I mean, every decision. There was no decision made within that band that Mike Portnoy didn't have at least a large voice in. He was that guy. So you lose that guy, something's going to happen. And, you know, I think they put out 5 decent albums without Mike Portnoy. You know, going back and listening to the Mangini-era records, I think they stand up really, really well. I enjoyed listening to them quite a bit. The Astonishing, it really depends on where your headspace is at any particular time. But I'm kind of with Alex. I think it's a decent record. There's some really good stuff on there. all 5 of the Mangini records are really, really good. And I think we should be thankful for Mike Mangini.
Absolutely.
Without him coming in and doing such a great job and keeping the seat warm, as it were, all 3 of Dream Theater's Grammy nominations occurred with Mangini in the band.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. And the day that they announced Portnoy's return, I actually went and got his solo album off his website. This is signed by him too.
Nice.
It doesn't sound anything like Dream Theater, but it's really cool. And one more thing about one more thing I want to say about James before we move on to Pontus is the fact that I actually think he's an awesome singer. Like listen to some of the vocals he does on songs like Through Her Eyes, Spirit Carries On. He's an amazing singer. He has such an emotive voice. I mean, obviously every musician, okay, let the Dream Theater haters hear this. Every musician has off nights. Everyone. There's times even where you practice and you sit behind the kit or behind the mic or whatever you do and you go, oh, there's something off today. I don't know what's going on. I mean, and especially for a singer, it's so easy to, like, if you went to a concert the night before you perform a concert and you were screaming at a Metallica show or something, it's going to be hard to sing the next day. It's going to be hard to even talk, I mean, I don't think James LaBrie does that, but it's just a point to say that I think he's an awesome singer. And, people that say crap about him need to just, take a hike.
His voice is an instrument as well. Like it's used as an instrument in the band. I mean, that harmonizing at the end of the Count of Tuscany and everything is absolutely mind-blowing. It is absolutely brilliant. And he's a great front man. His presence on that stage with them is something that would be very, very difficult to replace.
Yeah, if he had been bad, I mean, he wouldn't have stayed that long.
No,
if the others would have thought, oh, he can't do it, he can't master it, he would have been out.
But it's the same people who say, oh, Phil Collins can't sing anymore. You know what? I saw Phil Collins live with Genesis and on his own. Yeah, he was sitting. Sure, obviously he was sitting, but they did have to alter the keys of the song, something I have no problem with. He was great. He sounded awesome. He sounded, I mean, sure they tune everything down a little bit, but he was great. And, Dream Theater doesn't even do that. And they still power through. I mean, maybe occasionally, depending on the night, if James needed to, they could possibly, shift keys a little bit if they needed to, but they haven't had to so far. He's awesome. I love him. I love the guy. And he lives just a couple hours from me, here in Ontario, right? But
that's right. He is Canadian. I don't think anyone's mentioned that yet.
Yeah, no, I love him. And you can, I've known people like even Rick Labonte in the Peanut Gallery here. Lots of people who live around here have run into him at various, like I think Rick saw him at the Mammoth Wolfgang Van Halen concert. Like you just see him anywhere, right? He's such a cool dude. Anyway, love James. Pontus, what do you have to say for your top 10 or top 15 Dream Theater songs? It's a free for all, however many you want. Just go.
Top 30, Pontus. Let's hear it.
Here's the story. Back in '98, I was given a few albums by this band. I didn't know very much about them at the time, and one of them was Live at Marquee, the live album from '93. And I remember especially I put that on in the CD player, and before pushing play, I prayed. I say, God, please don't make it sound like Marillion. And I was heard.
That would be pretty bad.
It wasn't. It was more like Bill Bruford on Ecstasy, right?
Brilliant.
That's the way to put it.
It was just amazing. And the one thing that got me, because I made a strange buy. I bought the live album from '98, and it's very sort of fragmented. Once in a Lifetime, I think it's called. Yep. And what put it right was actually the live DVD of Metropolis. live gig in 2000 or 2001, and that really made me a fan for a couple of years. And then I was a fan up until Octavarium. Then something else happened, and I wouldn't say I jumped the shark, but I sort of drifted away from them. Funnily enough, Van der Graaf Generator and entered my life at the same time. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I still like them. And I have to be honest, I could have picked some of the Mangini songs just to prove myself but I have to be honest. If I'm sitting here, I have to tell you, this is songs that I like, and I had to learn about the. It's a bit of a confession time, isn't it? It's Sunday. I have to learn those albums. I have to learn those albums. I haven't got them really in my head. So this is my top 15 list. It could change any time, and we'll have a. I have it on my phone here. We see. The first one I think is. The wonderful As I Am, which is a fantastic sort of, which I like a lot. The heaviness, and also the fact that they start with the same thing that they ended the last album with. I think that is just cool. Number 14 is Panic Attack.
Oh,
Nice. Yeah.
Split
I had
up.
Octavarium as a sort of, I love it, but I do honestly don't remember it that well. So it just became number 13. Number 12 is Home.
Yeah.
Number 11 is Pull Me Under.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now we're entering number 10. One of my all-time favorite. I bought the Live at Budokan DVD, and I really love that album. I think it's one of the great late live albums of all time. And one track that really stood out for me was Trail of Thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
Trail of Tears, sorry. Trail of Tears.
I thought you were just giving a shout out to that.
Trail of Tears.
Trail of Tears. I really like that. I really like that sort of. It has a sort of a great sort of mystery to it. It just flows very nicely on that live track. The first track I ever heard from Dream Theater is at number 9. Because in Sweden, I don't think Pull Me Under was such a big hit here. The track that really hit was Another Day.
Really?
Yeah.
Love it. I think Another Day was on a sort of power ballads sort of compilation, and it was also played on the radio a lot. I remember.
Well, I want that compilation.
Yeah. You didn't. That was a good track. The rest was Scorpions and stuff like that.
Scorpions. I love the Scorpions.
Yeah.
What are we talking
Don't
about?
mess with the Scorps, man.
Okay, I can send you there. We can send it to Canada. It's okay. Another track from the Images and Words album, Take the Time. I like that. Yeah.
First mention for Take the Time. Good call.
Yeah.
Hey, has anyone ever caught the Frank Zappa nugget in that song?
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I should have known Scott. Should have known Scott would have. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Beyond This Life.
Oh yeah.
Is next.
Nice.
I really enjoy that. The Spirit.
Now the live version on this though of Beyond This Life is wild.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's a great one. Yeah. The Spirit Carries On. I like both the studio version and the Budokan. I think it was on the score and on the live DVD of Metropolis part to it as well. And number 5 for me is Blind Faith.
Oh yeah.
I really like the 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence album. I think I remember buying that when that came out. It was a major influence in that year. I really enjoyed that album. I mean, it has a feel to it that it's just. I think they're very comfortable with what they're doing. They have a confidence at this time that this is the lineup. This is the this is a group, and we're very comfortable with each other. We know what we're doing. We're on top of the game, and that sort of is the feeling of that album. And also, Misunderstood is another gem from that album. I love that. I mean, it's. I sometimes I love the slow songs of this band. You know, it's because they're very emotional when they want to. They really know how to hit home, like The Spirit Carries On and stuff like that. Another sort of poppy track that I actually love a lot is Solitary Shell.
Yeah. I saw them do that live. It was great.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful song. You know, sometimes you just play the songs. And
so many examples.
One of the funniest things I discovered, we had a small band at church, just 14, 15-year-olds, and they just was given a spotlight to show off. So they played what they wanted to play, and they played Solitary Shell.
I think Alex has something to. I think Alex has something to throw in here, Pontus. I'm sorry, Alex. What do you want?
Go. Oh, I was just gonna say what I love is like they would do these incredible songs that also wore a lot of those influences on their sleeves too, right? And Solitary Shell. I mean, a perfect example of that. It's like the sequel to Solitary Hill from Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's in 7. It's in 7. It's got the whole acoustic intro. But I mean, but I just you know the similarities between Solitary Hill and Solitary Shell are just amazing. But I think like that's the point, right? Like that's not
it's a nice tribute to it, like a very nice way to pay tribute to Peter Gabriel. Fair play to them, like
absolutely, nice. Yeah.
And it works because it's a song on its own.
Yeah.
Sorry, we had to stop you there, Pontus. Continue, my friend.
It's okay. Number 2 for me. I love the Train of Thought album.
Yeah, me too.
And my next 2 are from that record, and I think number 2 for me is In the Name of God.
Yeah.
A tremendous song. I mean, 40 minutes of bliss, really. I mean, the whole Al Di Meola sort of nod in the middle where he plays acoustic, and you get that sort of fusiony thing, and you got this beautiful riff going, and the whole idea. This is the album. You know, they talk about, you know, it's a bit like 9/11 sort of thing going on there, and you know, what would you do in the name of God, and I think that's just a beautiful song. But my absolute favorite is another song from Train of Thought.
Oh,
and that is a song that I actually love a lot because it's one of those things that it gives me goosebumps. And that is Endless Sacrifice.
Okay.
Great song.
I think that is a great song.
Rip salad, my friend. Rip salad.
Yeah. It's really, it has that sort of, it's almost like white noise in the middle of his solo, right? You're like, you know, that sort of thing. You know, it goes almost like, I think they did that on the DVD. I think there's a black, you know, some white shots there. But I liked it.
Yeah.
So that's my Dream Theater for the moment. I'm very sorry because I haven't listened to the Mangini records that much, but I have to, you know, I feel like, you know, those monks on the Monty Python's Holy Grail, the ones who goes and throw books at their heads, you know. I had to go back and listen.
Endless Sacrifice is one of the perfect examples of that chemistry between Portnoy and Petrucci.
Yeah.
There's a thing that I don't know. I'm a drummer, so I pick up on this stuff. But later on, at the end of the song, when they come back in with that riff, probably the 4th time they repeat that through, Mike Portnoy repeats that guitar chugging line. That he repeats that on the kick drum, and it is so cool. It is so impactful. It is so powerful. When you hear it, it's just like, ah,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
You can really tell that these guys have played together.
Yeah.
They're so tight. They know they can almost read each other sort of intellectually.
Yeah.
Now you're going to do that, and I'm going to do this. But if I play this to you, what are you going to play back to me?
Yeah.
And that is a fantastic thing about this band.
They feed off each other big time, and that chemistry. I'm so happy to have that. Again, nothing wrong with Mangini at all. In fact, there's plenty of songs of his in my list. But that chemistry, just the way that Mike and John back then would just feed off each other and just have this collaborative. I mean, obviously it's all collaborative. They're in the same freaking band, right? But it's like, they have this connection, the two of them. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. That was a great list, Pontus. Let's hear it for Pontus.
Thank you.
Give him a round of applause.
Well done.
Thank you.
Very, very well done.
So
There were no wrong answers here, really. I mean, you could have put 10 Mangini-era tracks in. I'd be fine with it, man. They don't have a bad album. I do like The Astonishing. I'm with Alex on that. That's really the only one anyone could point to as, maybe not being up to snuff. All the rest of them are fantastic, and that's why we're talking about them on the channel, right, Cody?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm really grateful that we get to do this here today. I just want to say I looked forward to this for so long. Yeah. So thank you, Scott, for making it happen.
This was fun because I don't listen to a lot of Dream Theater. I know all their albums. I've heard all their albums, so it was a lot of fun going back and listening to all of them. And the one thing that I really, really did notice was the quality. Yeah, it did slip a little bit when Portnoy left. But again, it wasn't because he was this, empirically better drummer than Mike Mangini. I could argue technically maybe Mangini is a little more beastly. It's just everything else that Portnoy brings to the table. Yeah. And in particular, it's his ear. Right? It's his ability to take all these diverse ideas. Mike has an idea. John has an idea. James got a riff right there. Portnoy's the one that can take all those disparate ideas, arrange them, have them all make sense. And yeah, we were missing all that with Dream Theater, but we got it in spades with the Neil Morris Band and Transatlantic, where those skills were being put to amazing use. So it's not like, oh man, those years were gone and wasted. Go back and listen to anything that Portnoy was involved with during that interim, whether it's Sons of Apollo, somebody's saying they prefer them to Dream Theater, which is ridiculous, by the way. But I do like both Sons of Apollo albums. They're cool, right? Well,
there's something to be said about that too, in the fact that Billy Sheehan, I am a huge fan of his band, Mr. Big. I love them. I love Billy Sheehan, and he's just the coolest dude. And so that collaboration with him and Mike, again, they have that chemistry, right? Mm-hmm. They have that chemistry. It's different than John Petrucci, but Mike and Billy also have that chemistry. And every band they've played, because they did a couple of, they got Winery Dogs, Sons of Apollo, and I mean, sure, Winery Dogs is very far from Dream Theater, but they really have these like in sync moments where it's like this: the three of them, Richie Kotzen, Billy Sheehan, and Mike Portnoy, the three of them just go at it, right? They're just insane musicians. Anyway, we got one more list to go through, people. Are you guys?
Come on, Cody. Pressure's on now. Pressure's on.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get it right. Everybody's is so hard to live up to. I'm just going to give a couple of spoilers here. I don't have Octavarium, the song, on my list, but I make up for it in other areas because. Okay. But yeah, I don't have.
That's what I tell myself too, Cody.
I love the song too, but like I picked other songs from that album that no one else picked on this list.
Well, we've had Panic Attack mentioned, right? We've had Sacrifice Sons mentioned, and of course the title track. So
okay, maybe I do. There is.
I mentioned the Root of All Evil.
Okay, drum roll.
These walls.
All right, so there is one song that overlaps. There is one song that overlaps, but I love this album anyway. It's great. My honorable mentions, just so we know what's not in the top 15. I know It's Awaken the Master from the new album. That was one of the first records that really got me into Dream Theater. Alex, I know you've been a fan for a long time, and everybody else has been a fan for a long time. I've been a fan for the last few years. I've known about them for a long time, but I've probably the last 4 or 5 years have really been my progressive metal era. I mean, I'm only 25, so what do you want from me? but that new album, I love it so much. The View from the Top of the World, I think it's great. So in the honorable mentions, we got Awaken the Master. Then we got Paralyzed from Distance Over Time.
Yeah.
We have Under a Glass Moon from Images and Words. We have The Dark Eternal Night, of course, from Dramatic Chaos. Yeah, first time I heard that, I was like, oh, that's what's happening right now. Through Her Eyes from Scenes from a Memory, 6 O'Clock from Awake, and The Mirror and Lie combo, because I don't want to separate them. I'm that guy. I don't want to. It's like Golden Slumbers carry that weight in the end. Right. You got to have them together. That's how it works for me. So to get into the top 15, we got The Count of Tuscany.
Yeah.
There's no way I couldn't put that on this. There couldn't not put on this. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You got what I'm saying.
You'd be fired if you didn't have it on your list. Let's put it like that.
So that is the longest track on this list. So that makes up for the exclusion of Octavarium, I hope. I'll put Octavarium in the honorable mention. There we go. Number 14, Fatal Tragedy from Scenes from a Memory.
That one hadn't got mentioned. I love that one.
I had to take that one out of my list to condense it down to 10.
That is such a fantastic piece of music. Alone at Night. James LaBrie really sets that one up at the beginning with that haunting melody that he does. Awesome. Number 13 is Fall Into the Light from the Distance Over Time record. I love it. Number 12 is Answering the Call from the new one.
That's my favorite from the new one.
It's a fantastic song, and I got to see them play it live. It was great. They did that, and they did Count of Tuscany live. It was awesome. Number 11, A Nightmare to Remember from Black Clouds and Silver Linings.
Yes.
Number 10 is a song that I know no one has mentioned here at all. It's from Dramatic Turn of Events, and it's This Is the Life.
Wow.
I love that song. That is, you want to talk about beautiful James LaBrie vocals again. It's right there, my friends. It's right there. This Is the Life, number 10. Now, this is one of them that I know very much overlaps with. I think Alex mentioned this, and I know Tara mentioned this. But at number 9 is In the Presence of Enemies, Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Alex, I can't remember if you mentioned that one, my friend, but I know Tara did.
Yes.
In the Presence of Enemies, especially Part 2, is a masterclass in what progressive metal is.
Yeah.
It is just totally, absolutely brilliant, especially when they get into it. Like about halfway through the song, there's this creepy voice that comes on. It just kind of sets you up for what's about to happen next. And then it's just the most total insanity for the next 4 or 5 minutes. And I love it.
We love a bit of evil here, don't we?
Oh, yeah. A touch of evil, as Judas Priest says, right? Number 8 is one of my, obviously it's in my top 10 favorite Dream Theater songs of all time. And again, no one has mentioned it, but it's Honor Thy Father from Train of Thought.
Yeah.
That drum intro, first time I heard that, I knew I had to go learn it, and I learned the whole song.
Cody, Alex. And Cody, I know there's something about if I ever need to like run through a wall for any reason, I always just remember hearing like, "Don't cross the crooked step." I'm just like, I'm
going. Yeah, and again, that's that point in the song where it's like we hear that "Don't cross the crooked step," and it all just goes from there, right? Just this total insane stuff. Oh, love it. Number 7 is this song that probably most people first heard of Dream Theater. I know when I first heard this song, they had this repeating awesome riff at the end, and then it's like driving off a cliff, and then you just hit a wall and it stops. It's Pull Me Under. That's my number 7. I had to go because I was listening to it on Apple Music when I was driving when I heard this a number of years ago now. This was one of the first songs I heard, and I loved it, and And I was getting into this chugging riff at the end. I was like, "Ooh, yeah!" And then all these poly rhythms and things going around the riff, and then it just stops. Like
what?
the Beatles.
Yeah.
And then, so I pulled over the car and I went to the next song on the album to see if it was like a continuing track, because on Apple Music they chop stuff up like that all the time, and it wasn't. And I was so like, what a way to stop the song, but it just leaves you wanting more, so you listen to it again, right? That's
and of course, the Portnoy trick that he took from the end, from Abbey Road, the Beatles, that he's done so many times, both in Dream Theater and I think Neil Morse band with Beyond the Years.
Beyond the Years, one of the best endings of all time. Just
immediate cut, which it's a Portnoy.
I Want You trick.
He took that off of the track.
Yes, I Want You.
He took that off of I Want You, right from the end of side one of that. That's my favorite album of all time. So Abbey Road, Number six, we have another favorite that I don't think anyone mentioned. I'm trying to keep mental score, but it's Forsaken. It's Forsaken from that has some of the most beautiful vocal melodies in it. It's not really an overly technical song like some of the others I've mentioned here, but it doesn't have to be. It's just, this is again that more emotive side of Dream Theater. It's heavy, it crushes, it's heavy, but it's not like they're not throwing 100 time signatures at you here, right?
Yeah.
But number 6 is Forsaken. Number 5 is Panic Attack.
Yeah.
Panic Attack. That was one of the very first. Another one that I'm going to mention and Pull Me Under. Those were some of the first Dream Theater songs I ever heard that turned me into a big fan of the band. That's an awesome track. I actually have a drum cover of that up online on my Cody Brockway Drums channel if you wanted to check that out. I should probably upload it to Brockway's Vinyl Bites too, but anyway, Panic Attack, number 5. Number 4 is another one I've got a drum cover for, The Dance of Eternity. Wow, that is... I don't even know if I have to say anything about that. Number 4, Dance of Eternity. Number 3 is one that I am eventually going to do a drum cover for. It is As I Am from the Train of Thought album. I think that is just fantastic. And that is one of the songs that I heard long before I took the plunge into the Dream Theater catalog. It came on Apple Music and I was like, I love this. Like I love this. I think this kicks butt.
It's a really great riff.
It's awesome, and again, that guitar solo is so nasty in that. It is so. I mean, don't tell me what to say or tell me how to play. Right? They say in the lyrics. That's the Queensryche dudes.
Right.
That's aimed at those guys. But then the guitar solo just rips. It is totally unrelenting. It starts on 10 and it ends on 11, the solo, and then the drums come in to just add more intensity to it. And then it comes back with the last chorus at the end. Oh, I could go on about that. Anyway, number 2 is Another Day. I think that is, I know Pontus loves that one. I think that was your number 1, wasn't that, Pontus? Another Day?
No, it was somewhere in the middle, but okay.
Oh, it was, okay. I get the numbers confused, but I remember you. I remember you talking about it, and it's just a fantastic song that has got to be. I didn't mean for this list to be vocal centric, but you know what?
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite James LaBrie performances ever. That he does that little before the instrumental break comes on, he does this little wow. He does it obviously way higher than that, right? But you know the part I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it just it's the rushes that you get.
Yeah, and also that you can mention the sax. That song that really is a coup d'etat. It's like it's that little bit that just separates it. You remember that Beckenstein riff. Or that melody. You do remember it. You do have it in your head. Yeah, it's playing right now. It's playing in my head right now. You just can't hear it. Good. It's that's a great thing to note is the saxophone in that. And Dream Theater don't have a lot of saxophone, but that's one of the tracks that does, and that's a fantastic song. It just that kind of segs us into our number one song that asks the questions:
Where do we come from and why are we here? Where do we go when we die? This is absolutely not only my number one Dream Theater song, but if I was to make a list of my favorite songs of all time, this would probably be within the top 10 of all time. The first time I heard this, it was literally a spiritual experience for me, listening to this song for the first time. Now, someone who is not a Dream Theater fan showed me this song because he's like, this is the song I like. And I heard it and I was like, for a moment as the song ended, I literally ran around in my house, like to my parents live upstairs. And I said, I think I've just heard the greatest song I've ever heard before. Like it actually had that impact. I mean, it's probably not my number one song of all time, but it's in the top 10, but it had that impact on me when I first heard it because that guitar solo and again, that chemistry between Portnoy and Petrucci and the way they feed off each other in that solo. I spent a whole week getting excited just to even talk about this one song, let alone the whole list. And then when James comes out with that last "Spirit carries on" and he holds that note, oh my God, it does unspeakable things for me. That song continues to blow me away. The guitar solo is up there for me with "Comfortably Numb" and "Firth the Fifth" and all these amazing guitar solos that we love. That guitar solo in that song is up there with the all-time greats for me. And if I don't stop talking about this now, we're going to be here till tomorrow. So
True.
That's my number one.
We love a bit of passion, Cody. We love it.
It's a real passion play over here.
That's right. That's what it's all about, man. You know, that's what we want to do on these Sunday prog streams is pick artists that we can geek out about for an hour and a half and just let all the positivity and all the love radiate out into the universe. We ignore the haters. Yeah, we get it. Dream Theater's a little technical sometimes. Yeah, Cats went to Berkeley. Get over it. Yeah, James LaBrie's voice, he doesn't sing like Ronnie James Dio or whoever else your favorite singer is. Too bad he sings like James LaBrie. Get over it.
I want to add one more thing. I'm so sorry. I just want to say that "The Spirit Carries On," that song also really came to me at a time in life where it was just like the right time for it to come to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I heard it, and I'm still obsessed with it to this day. I mean,
it's a beautiful band.
I love it.
Isn't that a big part of emotionally where a lot of this music falls is where you were in your life when you heard it for the first time, and
absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Definitely why Metropolis Part 2 Scenes from a Memory is my number one, because I remember exactly what was going on in my life when when that album hit, but that's just the way music goes. And that's what we want to do, man. We just want to talk about the good stuff, forget about all our troubles for a little while. Forget about the trolls and the travails of life. To wit, next week, it's going to be a big one, Wayne. What do you think, man? You know what we're doing next week, right?
I think I know too.
Yeah, the mighty Genesis.
Oh, yeah. We are doing Genesis next week. Their 10 best songs. I might call it something else. You know how the branding goes, but that's what we're doing. The top 10 Genesis tracks next week. And I don't know where we're going after this, Cody. You got any ideas after the Genesis episode? I had a couple, but I'm not sure.
I always have a couple of tricks up my sleeveless shirts.
Right. Wayne, you got anything you want to publicly pitch right now?
I figured, you know what? We did our top 10 album closers. Why don't we do our top 10 album openers?
Yeah, we talked about that. That might not be a bad one.
And we talked about Styx.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that too. So let's see here. Next week is what, boys and girls?
It's got to be Genesis.
What's next week? February what?
It's got to be Genesis, my friend.
February 11th.
What is that, the 11th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
February 11th is the big Genesis show. That's carved in stone. After that, let's see, February 18th. Let's do best album openers. And then February 25th, it's going to be our big Styx special.
Yeah.
There you go. We made some decisions here on the fly because that's how we roll. Anyway, that's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to the Genesis episode.
Me too.
I know Cody and Wayne, you don't have a choice. You got to be here.
Well,
I know Harold from the Netherlands might want to be part of it. So we got to decide who else is going to be on here. Pontus,
I'd love
Alex,
to be on it.
Sarah. We'll figure it out.
Me and my pops are going to have to do that one.
The Genesis episode is automatic, huh? Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, Scott, one of the guys that features with me on Brockway's Vinyl Bites, his name is Matt Brown.
Yeah.
He like me, Genesis is his number one favorite band of all time. So if you want to have an extra different face, or I mean, I love this lineup anyway. This lineup should be cement.
I don't want to monkey around too much, man. I mean, we've got, you look at the talent level on this panel, people. Where else on YouTube are you going to have a guy like Alex from Beer and Vinyl just chilling? And
we love Alex.
He's riding the bench, man. This is a lottery pick, and he can't even make the starting lineup. Poppycock, I say to that. We got to have him. Pontus, 100%. The Swedish prog nerd. How's your Genesis vocabulary?
Well,
Are you a Genesis guy?
86, so I know them. I've heard them a few times. Yes,
heard them a few times. Right. So we're gonna have a great show. That's next week. After that, as per Wayne, who's calling the shots here, apparently, we're gonna do best album openers, and I love that idea because it's prog rock, man. You got to have a really really great song to start your album, or else we're gonna fall asleep, and you can't do that in a prog album. And then we're gonna be talking about Styx, and I love Styx, and I can't wait to have all the haters in the house to tell me how Styx aren't a prog band. There's nothing prog about Styx, and we get to shoot them down and tell them how dead wrong they are. Yeah, okay, maybe Babe isn't really all that prog, but you know what? Equinox is pure prog. Crystal Ball is pure prog. Pieces of Aid is pure prog. The Grand Illusion and the latest two. Come on, man, we're gonna have a good time with that.
Scott, you've always been a renegade.
Yeah, I am. I just want to see what's going on your channels this week, Wayne. What do you got cooking?
Got a couple reactions coming out. I got one coming out to the Warning. I have a premiere date set for that. Their song Disciple. On Prisms of Prague, I just finished Dream Theater Part 2, Scenes of a Memory. Finished doing a kind of full album reaction kind of thing to that. Still figuring out how I want to do those. But I was thinking for my next one, I was either going to do Tommy by The Who, Quadrophenia by The Who. What was a couple other albums? I thought of Elias Ascend-Hillo by John Anderson.
Nice.
Or even thought Genesis is an Invisible Touch.
Yeah, I'm into seeing that.
Nice.
That album is unfairly maligned among certain Genesis people.
And I just want to mention my Beatles reaction to Hey Bulldog is my first video ever that crossed 10,000 views last week.
Woo!
So
wow.
And a few Dire Straits did a reaction to Sultans of Swing, and that one was right up around 7,000. So
nice.
I was one subscriber away when I looked on this morning from 3,900. So here's the
there you go.
Good for you, man.
merch to 5,000.
Yeah, man. Good deal. Hey, Tara, you've been putting up some hit product, man. Your content's on fire over there at Spinning Prague. You guys, man, everybody loved seeing you go to the big city of Cork and going to them record stores and talking to peeps and buying some vinyl. What else are you going to be regaling with us over there on Spinning Prague?
Well, our last video, I had to cut out a rant that Dad did on King Crimson, and everyone is commenting saying, release the rant. So I think he's going to just do a video on King Crimson.
Nice.
On Thursday, we are going to Cork, and I'm going to vlog it again because we're going to see Jah Wobble, and that's going to be great.
I love me some Jah Wobble.
Yeah, our top 20 albums everyone should own is it's nearly at 17,000 views.
Wow.
So the channel is blowing up. I mean, our subscribers have just been going through the roof.
Oh,
We're on our way to 600 now.
Good for you.
Yeah, we have released the rant. Oh God, we have our top 10 bass players, drummers, all that is on the list. Geez, we've loads of ideas, so keep an eye on the channel because there's loads of stuff coming.
Tara, there's nothing but opportunity for those of you that watch this channel on the regs. I've always been a big fan of Neve the Prog Nerd.
Yeah.
I still am a big supporter of Neve the Prog Nerd, but let's be honest, there's very little that's prog about Neve the Prog Nerd anymore. So what do we need? We need a female with an accent talking prog, and you're filling the void. Tara, I'm telling you, the sky's the limit for your channel. I'm really excited to see what happens next. I'm really happy for your success. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. And
Yes.
we really appreciate all the support from you guys. Like, you've been absolutely fantastic. So it's an honor, honestly.
Well,
What is
you're
it
a
that you
pleasure
always
to
say,
share.
Scott? What is it that you always say, Scott? A rising tide?
Yeah, that's right. A rising tide lifts all boats, and it's absolutely true, because
That's
if
right.
they're spending time watching Tara's content, they're probably spending time watching, Alex's content, my content, Cody's content, Wayne's. Yeah, absolutely. The ecosystem must be healthy, or none of us will thrive. And
Yeah.
Cody, you're the perfect example of that, man. Talk about a healthy ecosystem you're developing over your way.
Well, I just I'm just rocking out. That's what's going on. And now I'm sort of taking the Brockways Vinyl Bites thing. I'm still uploading regularly on YouTube here, but then I'm also venturing off into the online radio era of things. Like I've got a new show that just actually started a couple days ago on Prog Radio. So yeah, check that out every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern. And I've got a new show that's starting in 4 days. This coming Thursday, again, Thursday's the big day around here, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can you guys still hear me? You're frozen on my computer.
Yeah, we're
here.
hearing you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We hear
Still here,
you.
yeah.
We can't see you.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know why this thing does that, but as long as you can hear me, it's
Fade to
okay.
black.
Fade to black. There we go. Nice Metallica reference. Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm over on Deep Nuggets Radio, so there is that as well. And yeah, and then I've got cool new stuff coming up on the channel all the time. I would love to have some of you guys feature on Brockways Vinyl Bites too. Alex, obviously Wayne is with us all the time. Pontus, Tara.
I love to do it.
Yeah,
awesome.
anytime.
I love what all of you guys do on your own separate channels too. I'm a big fan of Beer and Vinyl. I love the live streams you guys do there. I love Spin in Prague, obviously Prague Corner, And I don't know what video I'm going to do next for Brockways Vinyl Bites, but I know it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be awesome either way. Whatever it is you do is always awesome, Cody.
And Scott, I want to say thank you so much for your support of the channel. It means a lot, my friend. Thank you.
No. The cream always rises to the top. If I got one skill in this life, it's to recognize talent. But you can't always pick a winner, man. We got Pontus, the Swedish prog nerd. What's your next venture over there with the Contrarians, or what do you plan on doing?
They just put up a Rush video. They're talking Presto.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with that. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
But it's just released, so check it out. Because I signed up for a few things. I hope they're going to do them.
Okay.
I tell you, you can go on the Contrarians and become a patron, and then you're on, and then you can join the join the talks with Martin and me and Grant and all those people. There's a lot of I try to think about prog stuff from the Contrarians. There is some prog metal. There is the Lucifer's Friend episode was great, where they talked about that album. Just a great album from that.
I called it Benefit last week. It's Banquet.
Yeah, Banquet. That was a great album. I had it. My stepfather had it. It was just fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah, and I had to say, and I want to water your appetite a bit, since I'm in Sweden.
Okay.
And I know you people, you love a bit of Sweden, so I'm going to tell you, on my gig calendar now is, for instance, there is there is this guy who has run this. He has this promoter thing. It's called Progressive Circus, and he's having a sort of a 10-year anniversary. And for that, in September, we will have both Agusa and the guys who did Moon Safari will be the headliner for that.
Oh wow!
Wow.
So that's
Love those guys.
Yeah.
Wow. Agusa and Moon Safari.
Lots of
Nice.
shows coming up, and so I will absolutely see those. And we have a community here where we meet up before the shows and we hang out and share things. And he's a great guy. He's put on a lot of shows from everybody from Magma to Peter Hamill, Van de Graaf, and things like that. He and his wife is doing great stuff for the pro community.
I guess so, man, because I'm here to tell you that Moon Safari and Agusa both made my top 10. They were in my top 5, in fact, for 2023. Just amazing.
You should go to Malmö in September.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Alex, let's go. I'm sure flights from Columbus to Copenhagen probably aren't that bad, because you'd probably fly to Copenhagen, then take the bridge over to Malmö, or would you fly to Stockholm?
Yeah, I can take the train to Malmö as well.
Yeah.
But it's very sort of easy thing. And then we're going to have band from Utopia coming here.
Oh.
A supper reference, a supper sort of alumni band, which I'm going to watch. So there's a lot of stuff happening.
Nice. So, Alex, what's going on with Beer and Vinyl? Your channel seems to be doing really, really well. Looks like everybody's finding you and enjoying your content. What do you got going on?
Yeah, it's just a pretty laid back, authentic place to be where I drink a beer and talk about vinyl. So
it's always funny there. I love it.
We have a good time. But big thing is we do a weekly, me and a couple of other guys do a weekly live stream on Wednesday nights. Starts on one person's channel and then comes over to my channel for the After Dark. It's a joke. So you can come, to the Beer and Vinyl After Dark on Wednesdays, which I'm already looking forward to it. Not this coming Wednesday, but the following Wednesday is going to be Valentine's Day. So there might be a specific After Dark theme.
Yeah.
You don't want to see me in lingerie, but
Yes, I do.
it's just a good time, just talk music. I mean, prog is certainly a passion of mine, but it's also breaks off into a lot of other musical areas as well. So just kind of your typical vinyl record type of channel with all the rankings and vinyl finds and all those different things that your heart can desire. And appreciate it as always, Scott and everybody else. Love all you people. Tara, it was great to connect with you over video as well. Awesome stuff.
Hey, I'm telling you, this is dedication here, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a little bit of advice on how to, make a mark in this world, be like Alex and give your boss the middle finger. Tell him, hey, dude, I need 90 minutes to talk about prog rock with my friends, and there's nothing you can do about it. Get over it. I love it. I love you, Alex. Thank you so much.
Much love, brother.
Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So, on my channel, I don't know if I should say anything or not, but I'm scheduled with Steve Hackett tomorrow, so we'll see. Steve Hackett. I'm really psyched to sit down with one of my heroes and talk about prog rock. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then I'm doing going to be reviewing The Smile, that new album from the Radiohead spin-off people. I'm really digging it. I think it's really, really good. But, all the excitement in my life going on right now. But the most exciting thing is I pinned down, do you guys know these documentaries, the making of Trick of the Tail, the making of Going for the One, the making of Brain Cell Surgery? This guy, Rael NYC.
I love his video.
Yeah, I know him.
He's coming on the channel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring him in.
Brilliant.
And we're gonna talk to this guy
those
about
documentaries are great. Those are
man,
They're
right?
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I
I'm
can't
so
wait.
excited. Well done, Scott. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him for a while, but he's like, there's a reason I don't put my face on the screen. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it, man. People need to know the genius behind this work, because his stuff is amazing, and it's evergreen stuff. definitely suggest his content to everybody. I recommend it. This is stuff that's going to be watched 100 years from now. When you want to know what, what Genesis was thinking when they recorded Foxtrot, it's going to be this guy's words, this guy's editing, this guy's thoughts. So I want to pin him down and get him on the show because he matters, you know. And that's the thing about prog rock on YouTube. Yeah, you think sometimes you're just talking into the echo chamber. You are not. We're making a difference. Actually, prog rock on YouTube is one of the major growth centers for the genre. We actually have an impact. We shape things. Hey, man, we're micro influencers, each and every one of us. It's awesome, man.
Oh, no.
We're the bad influence, right?
Yeah.
So, Scott, when are you doing? When are you going to upload the Rail NYC video?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea of when when that's gonna be up?
He's a baller, man. I'm vacationing in Italy right now, so when I get back, I'm like, all right.
I'm really excited to see the Steve Hackett one because
man, I can't wait. His people told me I have 25 minutes. I mean, I thought that was odd. Not a half an hour, you know, I have 25 minutes. So, you know, whatever. It's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Should be fun. But anyway, talk about fun. This was amazing. What a great panel today. Wayne, thank you so much. Cody, as always.
Thank you.
So great to have Tara back in the house. And Pontus, the Swedish prog nerd. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, only 50 miles down the road, and I didn't even know this guy existed a month ago. It's Alex from Beer and Vinyl. Thanks for joining us again. What an amazing job. It was nice having a couple of actual experts on the panel here today. You know, I don't suffer from imposter syndrome. I know I'm an imposter. I don't suffer from a thing, but it's all good. I love you guys. We will see you here next week as we discuss the great, the mighty, the powerful, the one, the only Genesis. Their 10 best songs is going to be amazing. Thanks to everybody. I love you. All the people in the peanut gallery. Yeah, I kind of ignored you today, but we'll rectify that in the Genesis episode. We'll spend a little bit more time with you guys, but you know how it is when you're trying to keep brush fires in check. Anyway, peace in the Middle East. Free Tibet and God save the king. Save King Chucky. I'll see you punks tomorrow. Peace.
Rock out.